well be hard to imagine that a person could themselves provide enough energy, primarily with their feet and legs, to effectively run wood and metalworking machinery such as saws, lathes, and grinders. But that is exactly what a relatively short-lived type of machine known as foot-powered machinery did, and did very, very well. These machines came in many different types, sizes, and shapes, and were both commercially made as well as made by individual craftsmen. Not only functional, but they were also decorative, ornate, and just plain pretty. In the Victorian age, foot-powered machinery significantly improved productivity and contributed to the building of America. So when and how did all this begin? Lathes are used to make things like chair legs and wooden bowls. They shape wood by rotating the workpiece and using a cutter to remove the material. They are perhaps man's oldest woodworking machines, dating back to at least 1500 BC. These early lathes used reciprocating motion, forward then back, provided by a rope of some form wrapped around the work and pulled one way then the other by a helper. These evolved into spring pole lathes that used a treadle connected to one end of the rope to move the work forward, and then a wood pole or tree limb on the other end for the return motion. Obviously, these lathes only cut when going forward and not on the return. Early designs were then refined by using an arm or treadle with up-down motion connected to a shaft or directly to a flywheel. This resulted in continuous forward rotation of the workpiece, and the flywheel provided momentum for improved overall performance. The availability of steel that could be made into a relatively thin blade was likely a factor that impeded the development of foot-powered saws. By the late 1700s, Diderot and Moxon illustrated foot-powered saws in their publication. The up and down motion used in foot-powered lathes could easily be adapted to powering a saw. Patented and manufactured machines began appearing just prior to the Civil War in the late 1850s. The war likely had a negative impact for a time, as the focus was on making war materials. However, improved processes developed for the war effort helped make foot-powered machinery really take off. Some of these early designs were crude when compared to later machines, and some even claimed they could multiply energy. This claim can honestly be understood and comes from the feeling of momentum from flywheels and gearing. In reality, the more moving parts and linkage that the machine has, the more friction it has, and thus is less efficient. By the early 1870s, there were a number of manufacturers that were successfully making foot-powered lathes and saws, including combinations of lathes, saws, and drills. Examples of these early machines were made by W.F. and John Barnes, Penny, Beach, and Miller Falls, and they can be found in collections, and some are still used today in demonstrations in woodworking. Foot-powered machinery came in two general types: commercial grade and amateur or hobby grade. Commercial grade machines were designed for cabinet makers, gunsmiths, and blacksmiths, and cost from about $20 for a scroll saw up to about $100 for a metal lathe. Amateur or hobby grade machines were marketed and sold for craftspeople and children for very light duty work, and they ranged from as little as $2.50 to as much as $22 for more fancier models. Vast improvements in productivity were seen for contractors, builders, pattern makers, and individuals with small shops. These machines did not require fixed power sources such as steam or gas engines, and they were portable enough to be taken out to job sites when a horse and wagon was the main form of transportation. With commercial foot-powered saws costing about $20, testimonials like "sawed out $40 of scroll work at a cost of $10 for my labor and materials," and "I can make $8 to $10 a day at prices charged for scroll sawing," clearly illustrated the improved productivity that resulted. This was very good money when a skilled woodworker in 1875 made $30 to $40 per month, that is, per month, working 60 hours per week. Even kids could make a half dozen picture frames in 2 hours for a profit of $1.30 on an amateur saw costing as little as $2.50. The social implications came from getting kids involved in woodworking and developing a marketable skill. At least one ad stated that fathers find in these machines that enables them to spend a great many pleasurable hours at home earning a few extra dollars and not out drinking and carousing. Women were encouraged to do both wood turning as well as cutting out fretwork with a foot-powered scroll saw. One company even offered a skirt guard designed to keep the dress from the flywheel. By around 1920, when electricity and electric motors became available, nobody wanted these machines anymore. A few of these, where you could replace the foot-powered parts with an electric motor, were kept. When World War scrap drives came along, large numbers of these machines were melted down for the war effort. In that 50-year period from about 1870 to about 1920, likely over 200,000 foot-powered machines were made. Hope this video was enjoyable and helps to illustrate how these machines evolved and worked, what they look like, and why they are fascinating to collectors and those who appreciate our machinery heritage.